Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 4th of February. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see, yesterday we finally broke out of that resistance or wedge pattern, and pretty much all in one day did the depth of the wedge from the near term size of the movement. Now, of course, we could see further upside. It has run into the monthly R2 area, which has sort of put the brakes on for a moment. It's also that R2 is the previous lows. If you look across the left of the screen here, we've got the previous lows sitting around that sort of area. So just run into some resistance for now. We could see a bit more profit taking here, particularly as below us we've got the daily pivot. So maybe get down towards that region at some point. But trend very much set differently. This is really largely led according to news services from the Fed comment from Dudley, who said members would take the deterioration of financial markets more seriously if tightening in financial conditions continues. In other words, they probably won't increase the interest rate for quite as quick as they originally suggested in the US, but it's almost inevitable that's what's going to happen. So that'll chew its way through the markets anyway. So for now, we're seeing a bit of dollar weakness. As I say, we could see a bit more of a correction on some of these other markets yet. Okay, so looking at cable. Oh, sorry, I'll just finish off on the euro. If the euro does start rallying today, well, yesterday's high would seem an obvious spot to start with. Had moved and absolutely one of the biggest days we've seen for a long time in the euro there, 240 odd pips there. I mean, if we get back to the pivot, it's still a daily range of around about 90-ish, 100 pips back up to the highs there. So it's certainly possible for it to pull back into that sort of area and then rally. Okay, or may just rally without it. Cable, similar picture, what we're seeing. Huge up day, relatively. Seen a reasonable few days lately. Now, whether this is going to be a bigger trend with these markets, we'll have to wait and see. But cable never really ran into major resistance here. It's certainly prior moving averages, which it's hit before. It could well want to push up further towards that 50, daily 50. So the obvious next point there has at the moment got the daily pivot underneath, which, well, if it does start pulling back, it would be the obvious area for it to be running to for support. A break of this sort of high levels here could see us running back up towards the towards yesterday's highs, and that's the monthly R1 area, which sits up there. And maybe beyond. As I said, it's got the daily 50 above us, so that's sitting at 147.12. So that sits just above today's R1 actually, which is 147.05. So certainly a possibility there. Okay, it's euro, dollar, yen. The markets are pretty well correlated all of a sudden. This sort of has given the markets a bit of direction, I guess. Now looking at the dollar yen, then we're seeing this big sell-off yesterday, effectively, and it's moved all the way back again to the monthly S1 here, back to the towards last month's lows. It could easily run towards even further towards those and break those at some point. It has got its daily pivot just above us, so maybe if it can get any momentum, it will push on up into that area, and we'll be interested to see then if it starts breaking. Alternatively, if it breaks out earlier this morning, we could see it running down towards yesterday's lows and today's S1 area. Aussie dollar. The indices certainly in Australia, etc., really gained quite well, with a lot of the miners pushing up in terms of price levels. But the Aussie dollar, huge bullish engulfing there on dailies. It's been holding up better than some of the markets anyway, and it's certainly held up well yesterday. Run back now to we're running back towards the daily 200 potentially, eventually, maybe a day or so if it carries on at this sort of rate. At the moment, short-term consolidating where it is, no surprises there, and we could again see it coming back. It's one hell of a move back if it does start moving towards that daily pivot area. Well, it's 50 pips, so it's less than half of obviously yesterday's move, which was near 180 odd pips. So certainly a possibility for it to come back there, but plenty of support on the way. It breaks the upside, well, then, as I said, we start pushing up towards closer and closer towards that the daily 200 there. It's, how many pips is that away? Another day like today, yesterday, could actually do that, run into that area with the prior highs there, and resistance would be quite a possibility, but I'll have to wait and see. Although all these markets are like this, it doesn't mean so you should be just completely bullish and buy. You should watch what's happening here, because we may see some, as I say, pullbacks to the pivots first. Canadian dollar was aided by the price of oil flicking back up again yesterday, and it eventually, the oil price did move up properly, and we saw the Canadian dollar coming down. It seems to be sticking up quite well, holding well for some time, even though it was pushing up originally, but it has pulled back down properly and gained from that drop or increase in the price of oil there. Okay, target wise today, well, it could yet come back for the daily pivot again. These are miles away from their levels. It's some 100 pips away. Would be generally seen as a normal range. So it would have to spend most of its day pulling back at this rate, or a large part of it, but certainly a possibility. Okay, news-wise today, we haven't got massive news out, although Draghi's speaking at 8, which he's due to speak at the Deutsche Bank's lecture. Okay. In Frankfurt, so you might get some volatility on the euro this morning at 8. Later on, then at 12 o'clock, we've got the Bank of England data, which is obviously key data. Round about at 12 o'clock. So we'll be interested to see the comments that come out in the minutes more than anything else. It's expected that the voting will largely stay the same, although if it does drop, that could be quite negative for the pound in terms of its outlook there. It was 108 last time. If it was 0.089 again, that would certainly move the markets. But it was what's said in the minutes that's more important. And then later on, we got the Carney speaking at 12:45, so he's actually speaking due to hold a press conference this afternoon. So again, that might create some more volatility around that time. That's pretty much it. Well, could be a lively old day. That's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.